Shalom to everybody. Good morning from Israel. We are today continuing with our class on the subject of prayer for Noahides, and we are going to look today into page number 4 for those who have the prayer booklet with them on the importance of charity boxes. Here's the charity box that every Noahide should have in his house and give a little coin for charity before he starts praying. We're going to see the importance of doing that before one starts to pray. So let's look inside of the text. Welcome for Dennis and Theodore Petros. They are here. Good morning to everybody. Good that you're here. So the importance of having a charity box in one's house, in the living room, in one's office, in one's place of work, even beyond the giving a coin before praying, it's important to have a charity box in one's office, in one's place of work as well. So the importance of charity boxes. Placing coins for charity into a can or a small box is encouraged for everybody, for Noahides and for Jews. By giving any amount before praying, a person can benefit from this extra merit. The divine service of charity dates back to Abraham, as God said about him in Genesis chapter 18, verse 19, "For I love him, because he commands his children and his household after him, that they shall keep the way of God to do charity and justice." Giving properly directed charity is an act of goodness and of kindness, and Noahides have obligation to give charity and be concerned about helping those who are physically in need. This also applies to helping those who are spiritually in need, by supporting outreach to more people locally or around the world about the Torah's Noahide code. So let's look into the principle of charity. The word in Hebrew for charity is tzedakah, who comes from the etymology of tzedek, justice. So we can ask ourselves the question, why didn't God create from the beginning the world in a balanced way, that everyone would receive exactly what he needs? The amount of money, the amount of food, the place to live, the family. Why didn't God created the world in a complete way where balance and justice is something that is already integrated within creation? So the answer is the following. As we mentioned before, God created the world in order to establish a relationship with human beings. In order for there is life, has to be movement, has to be dynamic, cannot be static. If God would create the world where everything is already fully balanced, there will be no relationship. There will be no giving and receiving. There will be no dynamics in life. Therefore, God created the world with everything that we need, but also with what's seemingly lacking. And for those that were here yesterday, we understood already that when one prays, he should pray with what is lacking above and not with what's lacking below, because there's nothing lacking below if it's not lacking above. And we understand fully that above, everything is complete, everything is balanced. So really, one should focus on what is preventing that abundance from the spiritual worlds to come down here into the physical world. And that goes through tzedakah. God wants us to be partnerships in the reestablishing of the balance in the world. It should come from below, from us, from within the human beings. So the act of charity, the act of, like we said before in Hebrew, tzedakah comes from the word tzedek, to establish justice. When one is giving a little coin into a charity box, he is establishing justice in the world. He is re-establishing the balance within creation. So what is happening is that a person who is giving the coin is giving to someone that is lacking a coin. So in that sense, he becomes much more like God. He reveals the divine image of God within him because he is establishing justice in the world. He is re-establishing the balance in the world. And God wants us to participate in an active way in that. So this is the principle of charity, of re-establishing justice within the world, from a place where there is to a place there is lacking. In the same way, God is giving constantly life and oxygen and blood flowing within our arteries and veins. He is giving us constantly, and we are constantly receiving. We are the receivers. So in that sense, we should imitate God's ways and give charity to others. It's not doing something extra, we could say. It's simply imitating God and establishing justice within the world. We mentioned before that arousing awareness of one's inheritance, of one's way to connect to God, it's also a way of charity, of reestablishing justice in the world. Someone asked in one of the classes, if the 7 Noahide commandments are the gates for eternity, and not only to fulfill one's life here in the world and to get access to the world to come, here it becomes to a true concretization that not only to give a money, a coin or a bill to a poor person, it's doing a act of charity, but also by sharing the knowledge about the 7 universal Noahide commandments. It's also a very important type of charity. It is a spiritual charity that allows another person to have access to the world to come, to have access to study and to connect himself really to God. So one should take into consideration that these two forms of charity are very important. The charity in a physical way, putting a coin in a charity box or a bill. Everyone should consider his own situation and give according to what his heart inspires him to do so. One should be careful and not to give too much. One should not give beyond what he is, his income is, in order to put himself in a disadvantaged situation. Meaning that if one receives, for example, a salary of $1,000, one should not give more than the amount that he needs to sustain himself and his family and his household and put himself in a disadvantaged situation. One should give with rationality, meaning that one should give in a way that he is not putting himself in a disadvantageous situation. So that is the first part of charity. The second part of charity is the spiritual charity. And in that part, you can give as much as you want because it's unlimited. It's infinite. The amount of knowledge that you can transfer is something that will never end. That is really what reveals the infinite connection between two human beings, and is one of the expressions of the infinitude of God within the world. Parallel to that people having children manifest the infinite expression of God's light within the world. Through knowledge, also one can express the infinitude of God within the world. And it's a great level of charity by sharing with others. It's not trying to convince others about an idea. It's actually caring for them at the deepest level. Like a parent would care for his child and will not leave him do experiences that he knows that those experiences will have a negative result. like remaining in the ignorance about what is the future for the world, what is the future for the purpose of human life. One should share with others with abundance, with kindness, with love, like Abraham did. He would invite everybody into his house, into his tent, and share with others food, share with others insights into divine providence, into creation of the world out of nothingness. He would share with others what is the substance of reality and how one is able to set himself free from that disconnection, from that lack of knowledge of what is really bringing us to life every single second, of what is the purpose of creation, of doing a dwelling place for God down here. So in that sense, if one holds in his house or in his office a charity box, one is doing from his own house a dwelling place for the divine. He is doing justice inside of his house. And then he should give the box after 1 month or several months, when it's half full or full, depending on the quantity that the person puts a day. He is not obligated to do so, but is advised to do so. And then he goes to a place of an institution where people need food or clothes and should give the charity to the proper institution. A Noahide should give charity within the Noahide community. We mentioned before that the parameters for charity should be, again, within the Noahide community. And again, I mentioned this before, and I will say it again, that a Noahide should give charity within the Noahide community and to help if those that are closer to him, the people in his building, the people in his neighborhood. He should prioritize his charity. Of course, in the first place comes his own family. He should be worried about the needs of his own family first, then the needs of the people of his own building or his neighbors, and then the people of his neighborhood, etc., etc. So he should put this tzedakah in a place of his neighborhood where people are in specific need. And further on, if he has greater capabilities, he should try even to give charity to people that are in other places in the world. For example, through the North-South Noahide Global Support Campaign, there are Noahides that already give from different places in the world, from the United States, for example, to Noahides that are in Africa, for example. And it is a deep expression of loving kindness, of establishing justice in the world, or of rebalancing the world, about a person being concerned with a person that he doesn't even know, a person that is in the other side of the planet. So this is a deep expression of the divine image being expressed within human beings, and it expressed the fulfillment that everyone realizes that every single human being is created in the image of God, and justice is when everybody is able to express his full potential, and through charity we will, Bezat Hashem, be able to achieve that and reveal ultimately amongst all of humanity the divine image. Okay, so this concludes this part of the prayer of the charity boxes, that one should make an effort in the morning before he prays to put a little coin in the charity box. As the Rebbe Menachem Mendel Schneerson says, Amaise Wa'ikar, the deed is the main thing. So one should put a little coin in his charity box and then pray to God. And then he also increases his chances for God to really pay attention closely to his prayer, because he's doing the same thing. So God says to himself, if he gave a coin, why shouldn't I give a coin to him? So everyone, according to his own needs, he should put a coin in a charity box and give. go from a state of only receiver to a state of giver. And B'ezrat Hashem, God should give every one of us exactly what he needs: health, children, livelihood, and everything that one needs materially and spiritually. So this concludes this part of prayer on the charity boxes. If someone has any questions, now it's the time. And as I mentioned yesterday, the prayer booklet is available on the Noahide Academy shop. You can find it there, read more. And yesterday we also made available a part of the prayer booklet as an ebook. It's available when you on the Facebook, when you go to or you received an email from our newsletter with the possibility to download the PDF file for a part of the prayer booklet, so you can have access directly to it. And B'ezrat Hashem, we will continue tomorrow with the third class on the Noahide prayer. And I'm just looking, I see that Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of people that came to the class today. I'm very happy to see that. Shalom Theodore, Al is here, Eric, Annette, Shalom Annette, and also Lynn, Martha. And if there are no questions, therefore, we'll continue tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem. And as I mentioned before, all the broadcasts are available at the Noahide Academy events broadcasts. You'll be able to find also in the same category in the events a category that is named answers. So in that category, you'll be able to find answers to open questions to Rabbi Abraham Twersky on different subjects of life, including prayer and amongst other subjects. So you can see there, it's short answers, generally between 2 and 4 minutes. So you can have some insights on how the Torah looks at family life, happiness, how to overcome challenges in life, and more. So I wish you all a great day. We should all give a little coin today and increase justice in the world. It doesn't depend on governments, it doesn't depend on angels, it doesn't depend on NGOs, it depends on every single one of us. In putting a little coin every single day, we are establishing justice in the world. So I wish you all a good day. We should all increase in acts of goodness and kindness. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should all see Mashiach coming in our days. It should be today, mamish.